Hello YouTube, Jester Games here, and today I'm going to do a fazbear frights tier list video. So yeah, I'm just going to go down the list and list every single fazbear fright story. Keep in mind this is my own opinion, and I would love to see your opinions in the comments. Alright? Cool. So the first one we have is Fetch. Now Fetch, I would say it's a solid, it's a very good story. Writing, awesome. Concept, pretty unique. Not really much to say, so I'm gonna give it an S tier. Very good story. Out of stock. This one is one of the many that feature returning characters. In this case, Plush Trap. So for these kinds of stories, I'll be judging them based on their book appearance, the overall book itself, or the overall story itself, and how the characters portrayed in other media. So yeah, out of stock. I would say this, probably should script this video. Yeah. Anyways, whatever. So for this story in particular, I would definitely say it is an A tier story. Like, the one thing I wouldn't say is an S tier is because the logic doesn't make much sense. You know what? This is the FNAF universe. Logic doesn't make any sense, so I'm just gonna throw that comment out the window. Yeah. Very good story. S tier, definitely. Now, 1:35 a.m. Alright, so this one, I thought it was very interesting. Like, it was very similar to Fetch. Like, main character finds the animatronic in a deactivated state. Then they activate it somehow and it starts terrorizing them. But I just found the ending to be a lot more tragic. Like, Yellow Doll can't physically harm, what was it, Delilah? That was her name? Delilah? Yeah, Yellow Doll can't physically harm Delilah, so she basically, spoilers, spoiler warning, but where Ella basically terrorized Delilah enough, where she basically kills herself. Very tragic. All around, very good story. Blackbird. Alright. This one, I'm not sure. I mean, like, it's a very interesting concept. Like, in my opinion. Where the two people decided to make a movie about this character called Blackbird that is supposed to be like an omen for repressed deeds or something like that. Did find it just, you know what? it was a very good story. Most of these stories are very good, but I found it just a little too similar to Fetch. Like, not to where it was like just a complete copy. It was very, very similar. That's one of the main things that dragged it down. And people are gonna start commenting, but you said the same thing about 1:35 a.m. and you didn't put it in the A tier. What? But why'd you put Blackbird in the A tier? I found that 1:35 a.m. was more like different and interesting than Blackbird. So yeah. Step closer. God. This story is, oh gosh. I have I like this story, and I also don't like the story. And it's mostly due to the ending. Like, the ending just comes out of nowhere, like Pete just gets straight up T-boned by a truck while he was going to, oh my gosh. It was nuts. Solid S tier, just wow. And coming home. This, I honestly didn't care about this story that much. Like, to be honest, if this story was not made, I would not be mad. It's about Chica, another character that I don't really care for. But besides that, it was a decent story. Very decent story. Although it was not much happened. It was mostly about Susie trying to communicate with the rest of the family. Yeah. Not personally in my cup of tea. Alright. Bunny Call. Basically FNAF 4, but with a giant orange rabbit. Literally. Read Bunny Call and then go play FNAF 4. Those two things are very similar. They're not very similar, but like the whole where, what was it, Bob? I can't remember. I think his name was Bob. Bob was surviving till 6 a.m. Well, trying to prevent Ralpho from getting in until 6 a.m. That felt very FNAF 4-like to me. So yeah. Bunny Call. A tier. Count the Waves. Now this story, it used to be my favorite. Now it's a close second. And not because it's decreased. It's just that I found other stories to be a lot better, in my opinion. And also, my logic brain was just like, what? With this series, you kind of just have to throw logic out the window if you just want to enjoy it. If you want to enjoy it, now if you're trying to solve the lore, you kind of have a sense of logic. If you just want to be there to scare yourself, then, meh. Solid S tier. Alright, the new kid. This one was very surprising. Extremely surprising to me. Because Kelsey, unfortunately, is spring locked. And then at the end, at the end, Kelsey's body just straight up disappears. And then Devin's arm gets spring locked while he's trying to look for him. It just, what? Like, at that moment, I was just like, what? Where did Kelsey go? Huh? Where did he go? Did he just evaporate? Did he just operate somewhere? What? Just very confusing. Very good story. Solid A tier, I would go with. Okay. To Be Beautiful. Now. This one, very good, but interesting concept. But I'm not sure about this one. Like, I don't really care for Circus Baby, but the story is very good. Like, interesting concept, interesting ending. Don't know where to put this one. I think I'm gonna put it in the A tier. Hold up. There we go. Okay, now we have The Man in Room 1280. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, that might be a bit of an overreaction because, like, it did straight up just rock. When this story came out, it absolutely rocked the foundation. That rocked the foundation of theory crafting, or like the theory community. That just, I don't know what to say. Very interesting. Had a lot of lore revelations. So, I'm gonna go with S tier. Just for those, like, big, like, revelations. Now we have Dance With Me. It was a very suspenseful story. Like, the story relied heavily on suspense. Like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Personally, that's not my cup of... It's not typically my cup of tea with... I mean, like, it was decent story. It was kind of forgettable. It was interesting to get to see Ballora and more... See Ballora. So, yeah. So... A tier. Now, Hide and Seek. This one, my new favorite. Definitely. Absolutely amazing. The only thing that I didn't like is Toby's decision at the end, where he does such a complete about face to everything he was doing until that point. Like a little bit before he unfortunately dies. Spoiler warning. But he just says into the mirror, Alright, you win. I give up. And then Shadow Bonnie backs off. Then he goes to Freddy Fazbear's. And keep in mind, Shadow Bonnie didn't completely disappear. He just got smaller to his original size when this whole mess started. Then Toby was just like, no, I am not going to let you beat me. I am in control. And he straight up just jumps onto a bunch of metal spikes, kills himself. Why, bro? You were, the end was in sight. You could have lived. It would have been an interesting story to tell to your friends. Probably. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. All but the ending didn't make much sense to me. Now we have Into the Pit. The wackiest story out of all of them, I would say. I mean, it's hard to get crazier than, it's hard to get crazier than a time-traveling ball pit. Well, there's also a story about a giant bunny. A giant bunny, possibly just a dude in a costume, trying to break into a lockside cabin, and also a shadow rabbit. And also a shadow rabbit tormenting someone. So, line of absurdity pretty much demolished. Alright. This was a very, very good way to kick off this whole network of stories. Very good. Very good. Now, Lonely Freddy. Okay, when the story first came out, I did not like it. The main character was a jerk. And, main character was just a jerk, and I did not care for this story. Now, after giving some thought, it was very tragic. Very tragic story. I would not say the fate Alec befell, he did not deserve it. Sorry. Rip Alec, everyone. And let's be honest, he was still kind of a butthole, but he didn't deserve that. Come on. So I'm gonna have to go with B tier. In the Flesh. I'm gonna be straight up. I hate the story. And you might say that's a bit harsh, but honestly, it is just a garbage fire. It was a pain. It was a pain to read. It was just awful. God. Like, I get it, the FNAF franchise is never gonna be Sunshine and Roses, but no. Now, room for one more. This story features the men arenas, which I never thought would happen. So, good to see they have some spotlight. And the ending, wow. I was not expecting that. Just very decent, very good. So, solid A tier. And finally, the real Jake. I'll be honest, I almost cried when reading the story. Very, very sad story. S rank, definitely. Right. S tier, just for nearly making me cry. God. And yeah, that is my total ranking of every single fazbear Fright story. Again, I would love to see how you would rank these stories in the comments. And yeah, I'm going to give you one last overview of where I'd put every single story, and then I'm going to close out this video. Alright. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video around, and peace.